Morning, everybody. It's Dr. Kenton wakes up. I'm Dr. Kenton. Good morning. Welcome. Nice to see you. Glad you could make it. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not, but there's a roaring fire in the pellet stove this morning. I looked in there last night before I went to bed, and it appeared I had enough pellets, but it's gotten a little chillier outside, windy. The wind messes things up. The hot dog vendor guy who told me that like 12 years ago was absolutely correct. Wind takes heat away faster than anything else. Well, which brings me to I don't know, is there ever a main point to one of these? Uh, Yesterday, a series of recognitions occurred that brought me back to a feeling that has been an uncomfortable presence in my life for, I don't know, it started in 1991, so 30 plus years. 33, if you want to be precise. More than 30, let's just say that. Um, it's a feeling like an institution owes more to its employees and constituents than they tend to express. And that really bothered me. So, in my own way, I dug back into it. There were a series of web pages the last time this really came bubbling to the surface, probably 2-3 years ago. And so I recognized many of them. But as the years have gone by, there have been more, uh, big year recognitions by student groups, by the institution itself, by victims groups, and so forth. And I realized that a lot of my consternation about how the university handled itself was misguided. The incident I'm talking specifically about, not to be cagey, was the campus shooting that took place at the University of Iowa in very early November 1991 while I was a student, an undergraduate. For personal reasons, I was not on campus. I was driving toward northwest Iowa where my parents lived and my younger sister. So I wasn't on campus at the time. But for some reason in my mind, it seemed like the university had botched. I don't think I had a problem with the fact that the incident happened, like feeling like the campus should have done a better job protecting folks. But what I thought in my heart of hearts was that the university bore a little more responsibility toward the survivor. Anyway, as I was going through the material that's available online now, I see that the university, though in a position to probably have done more and more timely, that there was an actual reason why the young lady who was shot was not a university employee. She was working as part of a temporary contract, and the temp agency and its workers' comp wing was trying to lay the blame at the feet of the university. And the university was saying, I presume, that the university had a contract with this temporary agency to provide the coverages, the insurance, and that the temp agency should be paying out the insurance claims. And apparently it took about a week. And during that week, I would say that in my own mind, I was trying to make sense of it myself. I wasn't on campus until the Monday. The shooting occurred on a Friday. The university decided to be closed. Winston, Dexter. University decided to be closed on Monday to acknowledge the tragedy. So I wasn't on campus until at least Monday. Um, anyway, the what I recognized also in looking through it is that the guy who did the shooting wasn't an active student. He had in fact graduated the semester before. So any claim in my mind that the university bore some responsibility toward this young lady because it was a student who, this lady was doing her job in the course of the day and in the university environment. And if a student had done it, that, to me anyway, would have put the dots on the I's and the crossbars on the T's, that the university should take more responsibility. But given that this person was, by all accounts, a former student, no longer employed in the capacity that he was previously. I believe that he was an RA, a GA, a TA, one of those graduate assistantships that universities offer. But he was disappointed that he lost out to a colleague on an award. And this is the lesson. Ego, being a slave to your own ego, can have massive and irreparable consequences. In this case, because this kid, he was less than 30, this kid decided that because the infractions that he reported about each and every one of the people that was shot, those infractions don't rise to the level of the death penalty, which he was ready and willing to put on them. Everyone in the Van Allen building, he was a physics student, everybody who died in the Van Allen building, he had specific allegations against each of them, which, according to the letter that some interested third party person had posted, um, something like schoolshooters.info or something like that. Just to me, seemed like a case of a person being disappointed and trying to find somebody else to blame for it rather than taking ownership of the situation and trying to do something despite having been passed over for an award. And somehow that realization punched a hole right through the balloon that I had built around it. And it just seemed like, okay, well, for those 5 to 7 days 30 years ago, the university didn't make itself look great. in the aftermath of this tragedy, trying to lay blame at others' feet for the responsibility to care for this person who was grievously injured, paralyzed from the neck down. Um, that the university should have taken more interest in making sure that this person was taken care of. Well, it turns out that they felt like others should participate, and apparently even the attorneys that worked for the temp agencies, workers' comp, felt like they probably weren't going to prevail if they allowed it to go to litigation. So they decided to pay. So the in running all this down, it also brought forth a handful of other times that I felt like my own institution had done a poor job in recognizing the effort and work of others. And really, those things all seemed like whimperings compared to this 30-year-old, what is it? What would it be? I built a wall, a protective wall against this feeling that the university had wronged certain individuals. That wasn't true. And the other examples all fell under the heading of it's in the power of this institution to make this decision. Whether I like it or not is really irrelevant. If I don't like it, I can take my ball and play elsewhere. And I would have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that I last night slept like a stone. Probably the best sleep I've gotten in 2 years. I don't know necessarily if that means that the issue is resolved. It, in my experience, it hardly ever does that. But I ran it to ground. I don't know what that means. But in here, I think that I have resolved it. So, some problems you can solve in a couple of days, and some problems fester for 30 years. Don't let this happen to you, kids. Do your diligence. Don't feel like people are hiding stuff from you. If you don't like the situation, take your road show somewhere else. You're not your identity is not locked into what any institution, agency, person, personality. You're not locked into that. You can make yourself you wherever you are or wherever you go. And the fact that maybe somebody else is ultimately responsible, that's not a great reason for surrendering a whole lot of time in your life trying and to try and make others recognize how wrong they were and how right you were. So be well, everyone. And remember always, love you, bye.